Welcome to the Structurally Sound Podcast. I'm Danny Benjamin, a rising third-year civil engineering and architectural studies major from Boulder, Colorado. As a kid, I was super into Legos and Minecraft, and I was good in math and science, so my family introduced me to the idea of engineering. I chose civil engineering specifically because of the hands-on and the practical aspect and to really see the work that you put in. I also chose architecture because I thought together it would balance my interest in math as well as the creative side of design.
I'm David Herr. I'm a rising third year civil engineering and architectural studies major with a minor in music. I'm from Fort Lee, New Jersey, which is right next to the George Washington Bridge, the most active bridge in the nation, which I think has been a pretty big influence in my life. Towards the later years of high school, I kind of had some trouble deciding into what I wanted to study in college. I ultimately ended up between civil engineering and architecture. I was not the best at math. I was also not super creative, but a little more creative than others. So I just really had a really hard time choosing between the two. But once I got accepted to Northeastern and found out that there was a civil engineering and architectural studies program, I thought that was a perfect fit for me. Especially with civil engineering, I feel like it's a very fulfilling career where you can literally physically see and touch what you build.
So David and I met second semester of freshman year in our first architecture studio. We sat next to each other on the first day just randomly, and after the teacher introduced that we had to build a cube out of styrofoam from scratch
In 3 days.
Literally 3 days from the first day. We were both we definitely need a friend in this class. So, I talked to him and we partnered up for the first project.
I think, personally, I didn't try looking for a friend, but
yeah,
it was kind of by chance, because I remember within that little 3 day span where we were working on our little cube, we were I think sitting across from each other in a part of the studio, and then the fire alarm went off.
Yeah.
We kind of just looked at each other, and then we had to go out.
Also before then, to build the cube, they gave you nothing, and we just had to go hike to Blick and spend $200 on a bunch of art supplies, and we didn't want to do that alone either. So we us and a few of our other friends in that class went together, and then we just built a cube for hours on end in the random side room of the architecture studio.
Yeah, and then we finished, and then we presented, and she's like, "Okay, do it again."
Yeah, it was crazy. Almost no critique either. Just do it again.
I don't even remember why we did it again.
It was just challenge your design, just make it different. I don't know.
That's fine. Okay. No, but I think
Keep it rolling.
I think after that whole semester, I think we got really close just within that semester, because everyone in architecture kind of suffers together. There's a sense of camaraderie in the studio. But that following fall, we actually had civil engineering classes together. We basically had the same schedule. I think we were just off by one class.
Yeah, one thing about the civil engineering and architectural studies major is it's so there's so many, because it's combined, there's so many classes you have to take for each major requirement. So there's very few electives, and a lot of the civil engineering classes especially build on each other. So there's a lot of prerequisites, and the order is pretty discrete. So we had most of our classes together, even quickly in our second year. You started to see familiar faces in every single class, and throughout all the way going up to our fourth years, we've pretty much planned out to have similar classes. So we overlapped a lot. Our second year, we took an architecture studio class over the summer after our first year, which is online, just working with online modeling software, and we worked together on a bunch of projects on that. And then our second year, we didn't take any architecture classes, right?
No.
Yeah, so that was full civil engineering, and we kind of worked together on that and built a little community in the field of civil engineering. I think like the civil engineering and architecture classes are so different, which is I like that a lot personally.
I mean, yeah, that's like good.
Yeah, because like in the architecture studio, like you're there for 12 hours just building a model, but you're probably gonna get an A. Versus like the engineering classes, like the workload is not nearly as much, but you're spending just like all that remainder of time studying.
Yeah. Still between civil engineering and architecture, I still like honestly, like probably I would choose civil engineering over architecture if I had to, just because like civil engineering is that much like linear and like the path is that much clearer. Because architecture, it's so like dependent on your kind of creativity and stuff. But we still haven't taken like the later level studios, which I feel like would be a lot more different.
Yeah, I will say like the career, like the job market seems much more secure for civil too, and especially since like our whole second year we both took just civil engineering classes. We're both going into engineering related co-ops rather than architectural co-ops. We were thinking of possibly doing architecture for like our next co-op because we're both doing two as well, but you have to provide a portfolio, and like for civil engineering at Northeastern there's 4 different sub-disciplines?
There's structural. I know there's geotech. That's like an actual master's
Yeah.
we offer. Transportation.
Environmental, I guess.
But like civil, no. But it's like environmental is its own thing.
Yeah.
It's in the same department, but it's its own like thing.
Yeah. So we're both going into structural, which is why we made this podcast together and why it's called that. Basically, just how does the building stand up? How does the bridge stand up? That's what we're trying to do.
We carry loads.
We do carry loads. Shout out Mirdad Sassani.
Yeah, our concrete professor.
Yeah, that's the other class we're taking over the summer right now, in person together, and that's like the same group of people that's in every civil and art class.
So, are you excited for your co-op, your big co-op?
Yeah, big co-op. So, we're both on the fall cycle. Everyone is for our major, and so I got a co-op at LA FIS, which is a structural engineering firm. They're headquartered in Dallas, where they have like around 100-person office, and then they have like 3, I think, offices in Texas. But now they have an office in Boston. It's around just like 20-25 people, and then a really small office in Connecticut. But they accepted 2 co-ops. It was one of my like top 3 dream co-ops, so I'm super excited for that. It's right in Boston. I can just take the orange line because I'm living near campus and can take the orange line right there. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's curious to see like how much of the design we're going to be allowed to contribute to, because we haven't done most of our design classes, and structural as a discipline specifically is like super heavy in like making sure you have those upper level classes done. Recently, it's also like most careers are like requiring or heavily recommending a master's too. So we've been thinking about that as well. But yeah, David, do you want to talk about your co-op?
Yeah. Let me talk now. So, what is it? My co-op is going to be at Skanska, not as a structural engineer intern. I decided to not do a structural engineering intern as my first co-op because I felt like I wanted to experience at least like part of the construction industry, because that's such a like huge part of structural. Like I want to see how these buildings are literally being built. So Skanska is this company that was based out of Sweden. They're kind of all over the U.S. now and Europe. Thought that was pretty cool. They're also currently working on the George Washington Bridge, which I didn't know until later, after I got the position. But yeah, I'm gonna be a field engineer, so I'm gonna be literally on the construction site, watching stuff be built. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not too sure what my day-to-day is gonna look like, but I'm taking like right now I'm doing like an online construction like safety course that requires me to spend at least 10 hours on. So I'm doing that. Yeah, I'm excited though, because I'm excited to not be in class.
Yeah.
And like actually have like a life, maybe.
No, that's true. I don't know. Like, what are you gonna do like after 5 p.m.? And I've heard that like going back to classes from co-op is like the worst.
No, yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. But like,
that's also planned to be like one of our hardest semesters.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think like a kind of a joke around like engineers as a whole is that like we know how to do the math behind a problem, but we don't know like anything.
Yeah,
like if
the
you put us like
yeah.
actually to build anything or do anything, we know nothing, and that's like low-key true. So I am kind of jealous that he's like gonna be on the field like doing stuff, and I'm just gonna be like, I don't know, designing and I have no clue what I'm actually creating. But hopefully they did say like there'll be some site visits and some other stuff to go along with it. So
I mean, I think it's okay because like the whole thing with like
I'm sick, by the way. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
the whole thing with being a field engineer, especially within a co-op, like just a 6 months like working span, is like it really heavily depends on what stage or like what phase the construction is in. Because like if they're at like planning and like no actual building is going on, then that's probably just like a waste of 6 months. But
all these projects are so long term.
But what is it like? The project I'm being put on is a replacement of this little bridge in Lowell called the Rourke Bridge. It was built like quite a long time ago, and it was supposed to be rebuilt like a couple decades ago, but I think they kind of ignored it. But now they're rebuilding it, and I saw like models of like what the like new renderings of what the bridge is supposed to look like. It's got like a little pedestrian.
Oh, is that? Did you show me that with like the curves?
Yeah. That's
it,
he like I believe like even when like when Skanska came as like a speaker for the American Society of Civil Engineers Club at Northeastern, they showed that. I remember that. So
yeah.
I'm hoping I can probably ask and find out what phase the construction is in right now, but I'm kind of hoping they're at the point where they already demolished the previous bridge and are building a new one.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like a lot of the interviews that I did, they were talking about like there's like different times of year and different just times in general where like certain types of buildings are going up and certain types are not. And I really don't know. Like I don't even think they really know why, but there's certain demand in certain times, and especially in such a short little 6 month stint, it's like you never know what you're gonna get. But I think it's also kind of interesting because like you're forced to do some random project that like, you know, it opens you up to everything.
Yeah, like it's kind of good you don't have like a choice.
Yeah, like speaking of bridges, we are both on this. Well, I really am. David like used to be, but he doesn't show up anymore.
I don't think used to be. I was more just like I kind of like poked in and not.
You
really
showed up when I did, kind of.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm on the Steel Bridge Club team, which is like the most civil engineering thing ever. Where basically in the fall we like design a bridge based off these certain requirements that are for national clubs around the nation, and we design it in the fall, and then the entire spring semester is spent like fabricating. So you get the steel, you cut the steel, sand it, weld it, which was my job.
Paint it.
You paint it, you do everything. So basically you take different steel beams. We use HSS, which is hollow structural steel, and you attach a plate in a certain orientation depending on the design. So then you have a bunch of these pieces, and then at the competition, which sectionals was a couple weeks ago, you build the bridge on site.
It was at Amherst, right?
Yeah, it was at Amherst. Oh, we didn't go because it was in the middle of our finals, but like half the people still went. But you build the bridge on site and you bolt it together. It's like 20-ish feet long, and like part of the competition is how fast you build it, so it's like kind of stressful. And Nationals is coming up in 2 weekends, and I'm going to that and I'm building, so it's kind of low-key scary, but should be fun. It's in the middle of Iowa at Iowa State.
I've been to Iowa.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Tell us about Iowa.
Iowa?
Yeah. Let's switch to an Iowa podcast.
When I went to Iowa, I went there for a music thing, like a music camp or whatever. But they're known for their corn. I didn't eat any of the corn because all the corn they were growing in that season was for like feed. for like livestock. So
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna try really good corn. I didn't. It was like pretty funny, like seeing gas stations like come and go.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
I feel like
I don't. They're
Colorado has most of it.
I don't know. They're like because there's like a regional supermarket to each like state ish, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
what
it's-
is like in New Jersey? I go to Acme.
Okay.
You guys have Acme?
No, but I know what that is because I like.
Where do you go to?
Like a bunch of things, but like I don't know. The one thing. Wait, do you guys have Safeway?
No, I've never.
Okay,
heard
so
of
we have
that.
like
No.
Safeway and like King Supers, which is like
Kings. I know.
no.
Wait, what is
King
King's?
Supers is like an only Colorado thing, and Safeway I think is like a West Coast.
There's a Kings in
I don't know. I don't know what King's is though.
Kings. Is that's different from King Super?
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
but anyway.
I think going a little too long on this podcast.
Wait, can I blow my nose first?
Well, we're at 15 minutes, so you gotta sift through that and find your nose boy.
So how this will look going forward, we have 3 more episodes remaining. In each of the next 2 episodes, David and I will bring a certain structure to the podcast to discuss and talk about from a structural and an architectural point of view and anything we find interesting. And then the 4th episode, we'll bring a structure that we both agree upon to also discuss. So for episode 2, the next episode, I'm going to talk about the Dewan Family Center for Computing and Data Sciences, which is a Boston University building right in Boston. I'm sure many of you have seen it.
I think it's better known as the Jenga building.
Yeah, maybe the Jacob building.
The Jenga.
It looks like a bunch of stacked like blocks. So yeah, David, what is your plan for episode 3?
For episode 3, I'm planning to. I have a list of bridges. I'm not sure which to talk about. I might talk about more than one, but these are all pretty interesting. If you can't tell, I like bridges.
He's a big bridge guy.
I think I like the
Except for coming in a Steel Bridge Club.
yeah, but I gotta bring some
Neil, if you're out
diversity.
there,
No, he's not.
Get on his ass.
Okay. Yeah, and for episode 4, we still haven't decided which building, or bridge, but
Yeah,
I'm sure it's gonna be a really good one.
it will.
Yeah.
So, if you're interested in buildings, interested in bridges, interested in structural engineering, or just like
Interested in our lives.
in our lives, yeah,
Danny
not
and
just
David,
yapping,
yeah.
then make sure to tune in. But yeah, that has been the first episode of the Structurally Sound podcast. Thank you for listening.